Have you ever just stopped and had this weird, nagging feeling that the life you're living isn't actually yours? It's a really unsettling thought, and it gets right to the heart of some of Carl Jung's most powerful ideas. So in this explainer, we're going to chase that feeling, and maybe, just maybe, uncover a truth about yourself that could honestly change everything.
So let's just dive right in with the big one. The life you're in right now, your job, your relationships, what you think you want, is that really you? Or are you just living out a script that somebody else handed you a long time ago?
The wild thing is, for a lot of us, we're basically actors in a play we never even auditioned for. The script, it was written by our culture, by our parents, by all these quiet little voices in the back of our heads. We're playing a role, for sure, but is it the real you?
But here's the good news. There is a way to break free from that script. And as we go through all these hidden layers that shape who we think we are, we're building towards one final powerful realization. And I mean it. This one idea has the power to completely shift how you see yourself. So you're going to want to stick around for this. Okay, so how do we even begin to pull apart this script we're living? Well, we start with the most obvious part, the part we see in the mirror every day, the mask that every single one of us wears. Carl Jung had a name for this mask, the persona. Think of it as your public face, the polite, capable, I've got it all together version of you. From the moment we're kids, we're being trained. We learn what gets us a pat on the back and what gets us a frown, and we slowly, piece by piece, build this mask to fit in. Just think back for a second. Were you ever told to be more realistic with your dreams? Or maybe to toughen up and stop being so sensitive? Yeah. Every single time that happened, you learned to tuck another little piece of your true self away, making that mask just a little bit thicker. Now, the persona isn't all bad. It helps us get by in the world. But here's the big danger. We start to believe we are the mask. We get so used to it that we forget who we are underneath. And that leads to a really important question. If the persona is just the show we put on, what exactly are we hiding? And that question, well, it takes us to the next layer of who we are. It takes us down into the basement of our own minds, to the parts of ourselves we've locked away in the dark. We're talking about the shadow.
So, if the persona is the shiny, curated version of us we post online, the shadow is like our private, messy, unedited footage. It's this unconscious bag we stuff everything we don't like about ourselves into. Our fears, our secret desires, our weaknesses, and you know what? Even our greatest strengths that we're too afraid to own. It's all the stuff we were taught to be ashamed of.
And the thing about the shadow is, it doesn't just sit there quietly. Oh no, it leaks out, usually as something called projection. It works like this. First, there's some quality in you that you just can't accept. So you banish it to the shadow. But then, you unconsciously start seeing that exact same quality in other people. And you have this really strong negative gut reaction to it. You ever meet someone and just instantly dislike them, but you can't quite put your finger on why? That could be your shadow talking.
But here is Jung's absolute stroke of genius. The point isn't to get rid of the shadow. He argued that all those hidden parts, they aren't your enemies, they're actually the missing pieces of the puzzle. Bringing them into the light, owning them, that's where real power and real freedom comes from.
This whole journey of putting the pieces back together, it takes us even deeper. We're going beyond our own personal history now, down into the ancient, universal blueprints that are inside every single one of us. Jung called these blueprints archetypes, and he said they exist in something called the collective unconscious. Just think of that as a kind of psychological inheritance, a shared library of human patterns and stories that we are all born with. It's like the software that comes pre-installed on the human brain. I mean, think about the stories we've been telling forever. The hero who goes on a quest, the wise old mentor, the tricky villain in the shadows. These aren't just characters in a movie. They represent powerful forces inside of you. That hero archetype, that's the part of you that craves a mission, that wants to overcome something big. But a hero can't become a hero without confronting their shadow, right? They need each other to grow. Now, two of the most important archetypes are the anima and the animus. They're all about the feminine and masculine energies inside us all. So for men, the anima is that unconscious feminine side. It's the source of intuition, deep emotion, creativity, and when a man suppresses that, well, it can often lead to a real fear of being vulnerable and a total disconnect from his own inner guidance system. And for women, the animus is the unconscious masculine side.
It's all about logic, order, and assertiveness. When that energy is pushed down, it can be really hard to stand in your own power and chart your own course in life. The goal isn't to be one or the other, it's to bring both into balance. That's where wholeness really starts to happen.
And all of this, it brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the big one, the one I promised you at the beginning. Because it turns out the biggest thing standing in your way isn't your mask or even your shadow. It's something much, much bigger. So after you've peeled back the mask, after you've faced the shadow, after you've recognized all these ancient patterns playing out inside you, what's left? Who are you really?
Here it is. The biggest illusion we all live under is the belief that you are one single, fixed person. That the you think you are right now, with your name, your job, your personality traits, is the whole story. It's not. It's just a temporary character your mind has created.
Jung's idea of our true self is so much bigger than that. It's not some little separate thing trapped in your head. It's a huge, interconnected field of awareness. It holds the wisdom of all your ancestors, the mystery of the unconscious, and a capacity for change that you can't even imagine. The part of us that creates this feeling of being a small, separate person, that's the ego. It's that voice in your head that's always saying, I am this, or I am not that. Now look, the ego isn't your enemy. We need it to function, but its desperate need to build walls and cling to a fixed identity, that is the single biggest obstacle to discovering who you truly are.
So, how do you get past the ego? Jung kind of gave us a roadmap. First, you have to be willing to embrace the unknown. Real growth never happens in your comfort zone. Second, you have to let go of your attachment to labels. You are so much more than your job title or your past mistakes. Third, listen to your unconscious. Your dreams, your gut feelings, those are messages from your deeper self. And finally, you have to surrender to the process. This is a journey for a lifetime, not a weekend project.
And when you do that, you arrive at the ultimate revelation. You were never lost to begin with. You have always been here. The authentic, whole, powerful self that you've been looking for has been inside you this entire time, just waiting for you to remember it.
So the final question isn't about finding yourself, it's about remembering yourself. Your real life begins the moment you stop looking outside for who you're supposed to be and you start listening to the truth that's already inside. So who will you remember you are?